Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new, my name is Corey. This channel is all about going through your 20s, trying to figure out how to create a better life now that you're on your own and kind of have to figure it out for yourself. So this is my place to document my process of going through that in the hopes that somebody else is going through it too and it can help them out. For those of you who are coming back, we're taking a break today from the Eat, Pray, Love series to go through a book review from the book haul that I did a couple of weeks ago and to talk about a brand new topic that is also very near and dear to my heart. So, I just finished reading ContamiNation. So again, if you watched the book haul a couple of weeks ago, I got this book from City Lights Books here in San Francisco. ContamiNation is titled My Quest to Survive in a Toxic World. It's by McKay Jenkins. And what I loved about the book is that Jenkins is not a scientist. He's an everyday guy that has a health scare that he documents in the beginning of this book, and it inspires him to go through and research what it was that could have caused that health scare and what he can do to better protect himself and make sure that something like that doesn't happen to him and his family again. And so the book is all about the different man-made chemicals that are used in our consumer goods today. So mainly plastics, but I think what I didn't realize until I really read this book was that plastics are not just the plastic container that you put your food in or the plastic container that you drink water out of, etc. Plastics are really being used for this wide variety of uses in consumer goods, including the flame retardants that are put on a lot of pieces of furniture, children's clothing, etc. And while they've definitely increased the safety of some of those products in the sense of being flame retardant and things like that, so they've increased the safety in the short term. What's happening now is that there's a lot of research that's coming out that's saying that those things are actually accumulating in our system, and they're starting to see that they're having these really, really negative health effects. So, Jenkins tells not only his own story of his health scare, but he also looks into a lot of research that's being done on the health effects of these chemicals for other people in different states and things like that. And another scary piece of that then is that he reveals that for especially things like flame retardants, a lot of these chemicals are actually having a negative effect and building up in women's bodies to the point where it's actually unsafe for them to become pregnant. And there are some pretty heart-wrenching stories in the book about women who are of a childbearing age, and I think one woman's especially kind of struck me because she said, I'm not sure whether or not I want to become a mom, but I never imagined that that choice would be taken away from me by the amount of chemicals that were found in my body. And that's something that I can really relate to because at 22, I have no idea whether or not I am going to have children or really whether I want to have children, but I can't imagine being told that I no longer have the choice because my body is actually too toxic to carry a child. That just blows my mind. And it blows my mind that these chemicals are being researched and that we know that they're starting to cause these really harmful, terrifying effects, and yet the agencies that are set up to regulate things like this are so crippled by the idea that they could harm the production and creation of new products that they really can't do a lot to regulate these chemicals. So, that's kind of the premise of the book in a nutshell. Again, I like that it's told as more of a story perspective. There are some points in the book that I wish had a little bit more research behind them. Just for some of the points, there's really only like one study or one point of research that's given to support the argument, and I felt like those could have been strengthened with a little bit more. On the other hand, it makes the book pretty easy to read, even if you're not a nerd that really loves to read the science behind things like the creation of phthalates and different plastics. So I encourage you to pick up the book. If you are someone who believes that ignorance is bliss and you would really rather not know, then this is not the book for you. I will tell you that this has made it difficult to even do something as simple as put on lipstick, because I've started to think about what is actually in that tube of lipstick and whether or not it could be harmful. So I've been voraciously reading the labels on everything, and it's terrifying what I found even in my own home. I'm someone who, I'm not really a huge makeup person. I like wearing makeup, but I don't have a ton of it, and I try to buy from pretty high quality, well-renowned brands. And even those, I found a lot of really toxic chemicals used in them. There are toxic chemicals that are in a lot of household cleaners. I mean, really, it's like everywhere I look now, I see something that is being talked about in this book, and it's a little bit terrifying. But I'm not telling you this just to scare you. One of my biggest pet peeves is listening to radio shows or podcasts or reading books that are just all basically about how polluted the environment is and how we're all going to die, because I think that's so depressing. We don't need more of that. Like, we all, even though reading the research is interesting, like, we all know that there are things going on in our world that are toxic and that we could be changing. But what I liked about this book is that it's easy enough to digest, that it gives you a good kind of base knowledge of the different chemicals that are being used and found to be really toxic, and it's fun to read because it's a story. And then I think that the best part of it is that what that means is that it really circles back to the fact that while it's scary that there are things that are slipping through the hands of the agencies that are supposed to be keeping us safe by preventing these chemicals from being used in our day-to-day lives, essentially the people that have the most power when it comes to these chemicals being used is us as consumers. Because if we stop buying these things, eventually it defeats the purpose of them cutting costs in order to make it, because nobody's going to buy it, because nobody wants a bottle of cancer sitting in their home. So, the moral of the story is, I encourage you to pick up the book, give it a read. You don't necessarily have to read this book. Just pick up something that will better educate you as to what the ingredients are. Just do a simple test. You can grab something from around your house, whether it's dish soap, your laundry soap, pick your favorite tube of mascara, etc., and read the label and Google all of the ingredients, and you will probably be pretty shocked at what you find. So, that brings me to the new YouTube series that I'm kicking off, which is the Detoxicology Report. Essentially, my idea behind this series is to go through and do exactly what I was just saying, to look at everyday household items or things that I use every day, and to talk about what some of the concerning chemicals are in them, why they're concerning, and then to look at what an alternative is that you can use instead that is healthier and safer to use. This also kind of brings me full circle into another topic that I've been meaning to touch on, which is that some of you have pointed out that I've been talking a lot about veganism as a diet, but really veganism can be viewed as an entire lifestyle, because there are animal products that don't just go into our food that we consume, but also into our cosmetics, the clothes that we wear, etc. So it is important to me to embrace veganism as a lifestyle more than just a diet, but I'm taking things step by step. And my hope for this video series is to show that you don't have to make this huge dramatic change in your life in order to make a difference. You can take things slowly. I definitely have cosmetics and things that are not vegan that I purchased when I wasn't really being conscious of veganism, and I've been using. I'm not just going to throw all of that stuff away and buy all new stuff, partially because I don't want to be wasteful, and also partially because I don't have the budget to do that, and I bet that a lot of other people don't either. So the point of this isn't to be preachy and say, like, you should throw out anything that has chemicals in it in your home and only use all natural things. The point is that with a little bit of education and some research, we can start to make better and better choices in what we're using every day, and start to discourage some of these practices that are really so harmful to our environment, whether that's the mistreatment of animals or whether it's the use of these chemicals that are really actually toxic and can be harmful to us. So that's a brief intro into my idea. Next on the list from the book haul is eating animals. So we'll be doing another book review of that and diving into it. But I hope that you'll join me again for the detoxicology report. I think I want to kick it off with some laundry soap. So tune in for that next week. And then finally, like always, I love hearing your guys' stories. If any of you have tales of things that you have changed in your life in order to avoid harmful chemicals, if any of you have concerns or thoughts on this, please let me know in the comments below or reach out to me, as all of you have been so great about doing. I think that the more we can kind of support each other in these types of endeavors, the better it is, because it makes you feel like you're not crazy for not wanting to use toxic chemicals in your home, because there are other people who get it and are right there with you. Anyway, that's my rant for today. Thanks everyone for joining me, and I will see you again next week.